that happen every time I sing that song. When I'm singing, there's a bunch of stuff that goes through my mind. Like, for instance, the grass needs cutting at the house when I left. I love to cut grass. I mean, I actually love to cut grass. And so I think, well, when I get back home, I got to cut the grass. And I'm thinking about that. When I sing that song, when I moved to Nashville, I started singing songwriter demos. And that was one of the songs that I sang the demo on. And it sat on the shelf for 2 years. And when I finally got a record deal, it was still sitting there at this publishing company. And we went in and cut it. And that was the first hit we had. So that reminds me of that. And then it also reminds me, it crossed my mind a minute ago, Randy Travis and I came out with our first albums about probably the same month, actually. And we were really old friends. Randy, of course, went on to be a superstar. And, well, see, what I am, I had a pretty good run at country radio in the 80s and 90s. Yeah. But I never was the biggest star in the world, and that's okay. I'm good with that.
To me, you are.
Well, thank you. Thank
Yes.
you. So I saw Randy. You know, Randy has had some health problems, and he had a stroke, and he can't sing anymore, and he really can't talk. But he knows what you're saying to him. You can tell he smiles and laughs, and he knows what's going on. So was it last week, Sheila? 2 weeks ago, we went to Huntsville, Alabama. There's this place called the Von Braun Center there. It's a big old arena. I don't know, Rick, this is Sheila, my wife, sitting right here, by the way. I mean, she's the brains. She's the brains. I'm the mule. She runs the show. And her memory, see, I have no memory. So it's a big place, I don't know, 15,000, 16,000. But anyway, it was sold out. They had a George Jones tribute. It's been 10 years since George Jones died, so they filmed this big deal. There were 30 artists there. It was great. Winona and Tanya and a bunch of country music singers. And I got to sing Tennessee Whiskey, which was one of the very best ones that I thought. And so Randy was there, and it just kind of made me think, you know. It's funny how your mind works, especially. This next song, I'll set this up. See, I'm bad at this, bad about talking. Isn't this fascinating?
It is.
So a record producer is the guy or girl that books the studio, hires all the musicians, helps the artists pick out songs, basically just oversees everything. So I had this producer at the time named Ron Chancey. He did a lot of jingles, McDonald's commercials, and a lot of different soft drink commercials. Anyway, he would hire me to sing these commercials. I've sung, golly, McDonald's, and y'all have heard me so many times on the radio or TV and changed the channel on me, it ain't even funny. I've done Hardee's and McDonald's and Burger King and KFC and Taco Bell and Coca-Cola and Dr. Pepper and 7-Up and Mountain Dew and Budweiser and Stroh's and Miller and Coors and all the cars and trucks. I even did Sometimes You Feel Like a Nut, Sometimes You Don't. I did that for 7 years, so y'all can hear me sing to you. So anyway, Ron Chancey produced every Oak Ridge Boys hit. He was the Oak Ridge Boys producer. And he said they're coming in here, right? That's going to be a good show. So if you like Oaks, come see them. That'll be a good show. And so anyway, we were looking for songs. And these boys that wrote this next song played it for me, and I loved it. So this was in the days of cassettes. This would have been like 1987. And so I had the cassette of it, and I put it in my back pocket, and I had a meeting with Ron Chancey, the producer, to talk about songs. So I went in his office, and I said, man, I think I found one. He said, you know, I think I found one too. And he opened up his briefcase and laid a cassette down, and I laid a cassette down. It was the same song. So anyway, we went in and cut it, and it turned out to be a #1. It's called Darlene.